Wow, it's always abrupt. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the Reload Show. We are live. This is what, 30 something weeks now? I mean,
33, sir. Episode
hey,
33. Going strong.
33.
love
Wow.
it. Well, everybody, welcome. We have, I'm Candido Diaz alongside with Sean Richard and Mark Sullivan. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good.
Doing
Good.
well, man.
Doing pretty
A little
good.
tired. I'll get into that. But yeah, little tired. But doing well. Doing awesome.
Perfect. Well, today we have a great show lined up. You know what? We're just three guys that get together every single week. We hold each other accountable and we talk all things real estate and mortgage related. So, fellas, we always start with our wins and losses. So, Mark, why don't we start with you?
Sure. No problem. Wins, a lot of conversations. Uptick in applications. I took 3 refinance applications in the last week, and I think one of them is going to move forward today, which is great. I haven't had a lot of momentum in refinances. I know we've been pushing them. Haven't really been doing them all that much. So really excited to see that. I think there's just been an uptick in conversation over the last 4 or 5 days, and it's got me really excited. Over the weekend, had quite a few conversations with people that were out there actively looking at houses and things like that. So I'm gonna call that a win. Losses kind of fell off my social media game a little bit, but that's easy to pick back up. So that'll be a win next week.
All right, Sean, how about yourself?
Man, I'm having a great week so far. I do have a loss, but my win was yesterday, man. On Mondays, like I am hyper focused on some outbound activities, outbound calling efforts. Man, I just crushed my outbound calling yesterday. I made, I think, 35 outbound calls yesterday. Got in touch with some real estate agents, was fantastic. Had great conversations with them. So just really happy with the outbound activities yesterday. Man, my loss is yesterday was a busy day, and I kind of procrastinated on a presentation that I had to give to my networking group today. So like 8:45 this morning, I have a networking group every Tuesday, and I had to give a presentation today, and I was up till about 2:30 in the morning this morning. Working on trying to wrap that up. All the information was up here, but I had to transfer it from up here to the computer and create a presentation. And man, I was dragging, but I'm here. I'm upbeat, but that was not ideal, man.
Well, at least you showed up. We definitely give you credit for that. Up till 2:30 though, no bueno. No bueno.
Not my favorite thing to do. How about you, man? What's winning and losing in your business this past week?
Yeah, so I somehow tend to always tie the two together. For me, I have to admit, one of my biggest things that I've done this year, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I've committed myself to getting back out there, right? Getting to more events. Had one last Thursday. Honestly, I was really tired. We got some family stuff going on. I just kind of wanted to be close to home. But it was for a realtor association. I went, set up a couple of meetings over the next couple of weeks. Honestly, sometimes the hardest part is actually trying to get out for your seat and get out there. But when I was actually at the event, it was fantastic, and it was a really good time. So. Kind of a little bit of both in there, but in the end, we have to go to these types of events, and you got to be seen, right? Shake hands, kiss babies. That's what our business is all about.
Absolutely love kissing hands and shaking babies. Awesome.
That too.
All right, Candido, what's on tap today, man? I'm excited for today's show. Tell us what's on tap today, man. I'm hyped for this show. I'm tired, but I'm hyped.
Oh, good. Well, this week we decided we are right at the middle of the year. So, end of Q2, we're about to start Q3 next week. And, let's be honest, a lot of people go ahead and kind of let their foot off the gas pedal over this week and next because of the holiday. But we are here, we're grinding away, and we are doing a check in. This group, specifically, what we are designed for, what we do is we hold each other accountable, and we are doing an accountability check-in. Where you at, where you hope to be, and yeah. So, fellas, do you have anything to add to that?
Man, I'm just excited. Halfway through the year, I'm a big believer in reflecting on our goals throughout the year, and quarterly is a phenomenal way to do that. So here we are at the end of Q2, like you said, and just looking back at, okay, well, what were my goals the first half of the year? Where am I in relation to those? What does this year look like versus last year, right? Last year, as the rates rose, a lot of us in the real estate industry, our business started to decline. And so how are we rebounding from that this year? So I like the idea of reflecting on the first half of the year and kind of recalibrating going into the second half of the year. So I'm excited to get into this. Plus, I've got some specific kind of hurdles that I'm hoping we can roundtable a little bit and figure out, how to really solve some pieces of the puzzle in my business going forward.
I love it. All right. So, why don't we start with you, Mark? How was your first half of the year, and what can we try and help with?
Yeah, for sure. First half of the year was, it was a struggle, just like it was a struggle for a lot of people. I intentionally didn't set production goals, mainly to set, just to try to see what's going on in the market, see what the market was going to give to us, but also because I'm in a transition period where basically intentionally doing less outbound marketing and more working on my business and building up a situation where I'm generating a majority of my leads. And the main goal that I had in the first half of the year, we'll just call it the first half since we're there. First half of the year was to have at least 50% of my closed loans to either come from my own sphere or come from something that I generated myself. And I was at 42%.
Okay.
So close, right?
That's huge. How many, do you know roughly what percentage you were at last year?
Last year, last ballpark, I'd say I was under 30.
Okay. Yeah. That's a big improvement.
Yeah, it's huge.
It definitely stemmed from calling my sphere more as well, and stuff like that. I'm still working on that. Not going to go into it, but some personal hurdles delayed the implementation of a lot of my lead gen plans that will be implemented in the second half. And when we're talking about year-end goals or second half goals, I definitely anticipate that number, or the number that of self-gen closed loans, to be in the 60s. 60 to 65% is my goal.
Wow. That's a huge goal, man. Is there anything that we can do to help get you to that number?
Yeah, I think some good old fashioned, every time we meet, just how's it going? And if I haven't made it, any progress at all, I guess make me answer to that, be like, why, stuff like that, and see what kind of excuses I can come up with. Yeah, for sure.
So here's one of my favorite questions that, and I'll pitch this to you, Mark. So what's it going to take for you to get there by the end of the year?
It's definitely going to take ads. It's going to be people outside of my sphere that contribute to that number. But it's also going to require more calls to my sphere. It's not just the people in my sphere that want to buy or refinance, but it's people that they know that are going to buy a refinance that I'm trying to get more of that business. I want an introduction from my friend Sam. I want him to say, hey, John, I've got a loan officer named Mark. He's really awesome, and I'd like to introduce you. That's what my conversations need to result in, more of those. And it's not because I'm not asking for it. It's more of a, hey, how are you? Yada, yada, yada. Is there anything I can do for you? Yada, yada, yada. But I'm not going further and asking for that business on top of it. And that's what I need to be doing. I need to be training my sphere to be able to properly introduce me to their friends.
Do you have any strategies, or do you plan on implementing any new strategies around that circle of influence, past client database, that sphere?
Just as far as the actual reach out or the conversation being had, I'd say
the approach, like, it's specific. Like, is there a specific strategy? Like, oh, I'm going to implement like a new past client outreach strategy where I'm calling my past clients, every, once a month, or, calling a segment of my past clients, every week to build, to further those conversations. Like, is there a specific approach that you are either implementing or plan on implementing?
Yeah, I think some good old fashioned asking, and the tried and true. Hey, do you know anybody, that's thinking about buying? That one thing that's come up in social topics, or in the topic of parties recently is is the housing market in general, and people's desire to move, and people talking about, man, I'd love to move, but I ain't paying 8% interest, right? And I'm not paying a 7% interest rate. And I want my sphere to bring those conversations back to me, so that either myself or I can educate them to bring that conversation back to them on, why it's a good idea, why you should at least think about. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more conversations. So I think the old fashioned, hey, do you know anybody that I can talk to? I think will go a long way.
So is there a specific action item that we can help hold you accountable to over the course of this next half of the year?
Yeah. 5 calls a day to my sphere, not to referral partners, but to actual non-industry sphere of influence that I have, for sure. That's what I have. That's what I have laid out, at least.
I love that. And you know what? Especially over the next week, I mean, 4th of July is a fantastic time. Prior to that, I should say, is a fantastic time to be able to reach out to that sphere of influence, because all these people are going to be going to cookouts, to fireworks. They're going to be around a lot of other people. So it sounds like you have some great talking points over the next, I don't know, like 8 or 9 days here. So good that he got cut out. All right, awesome. So Sean, let's move to you. What do you got going on? How's your first half of the year? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah, so the first half of the year has been good. When I finished last year in a bit of a downtrend, wasn't really thrilled with the way that the second half of the year went. And I could easily say, well, a lot of people had the same experience, and so I'm not alone. And just to be blunt, it was on me. I don't care what the market's doing, because I surround myself with plenty of people that are having success despite the market. And so I know there's plenty of business to be had out there. And so I really had to shift my mindset going into this year. So second half of last year, not ideal. I went into this year saying, hey, I'm going to double my production from last year, regardless of what the interest rate environment, regardless of what the market's giving us. I want to go into this year and double that. So looking at the first half of this year so far, I've closed 90, maybe 95% in the first 6 months of this year. I've closed 90 to 95% of the volume I closed all of last year. And so I'm well on my way to doubling, and I feel the growth is continuing. I've got upward momentum right now. So the very first month this year, a little bit slow, and then I've been picking up steam. So on pace to double the business that I've done, and so I'm looking good on that. My goal for the second half of the year is twofold. One is to simplify my business. I am very much the loan officer that is, new strategy. Oh, new strategy. Oh, let me do this. Let me do that. Let me do that. And I'm just consuming all of these great tools and resources and technologies, and they're all awesome. And implementing them over time is fantastic. I need to slow down, take a breath and say, okay, I'm going to simplify and I'm going to implement one strategy and become an expert, perfect it. Then I can come back around, implement another strategy and become an expert and perfect it. So first goal of the second half of the year is to simplify my business and really come back down to the core of what I know is going to help me grow. And then the second part is more of a production type goal. And I want to double the number of real estate partners that I have. I know that I bring a lot to real estate agents, both from a lending standpoint and creating phenomenal experiences for their clients. But I also know that I can, with as much as I have consumed, I know that I can help real estate agents implement tools, resources, and strategies to grow their business as well. And so my goal for the second half of the year is to double the number of agent partner relationships that I have.
So that's fantastic. And, obviously here, let me get Mark back here. There you are.
Welcome back, Mark.
Hello.
So, I think it's important to mention, obviously, when you set a goal, one of the most important things is to have it be accountable. You have to be able to measure that goal in order to try and achieve it, right? So you've done that with, I think, the second part. What about the first part? It sounds kind of like a shiny object syndrome where, you just have the bright new thing that you want to do. How can we measure you being able to simplify in order to focus on what you want to focus?
Yeah, man, that's a really, really tough question.
I only ask the tough ones.
I know. My biggest challenge right now is cutting the fat from my business, so that way I can fit it all in. I'm doing a decent amount of business. I'm not doing so much business where I should feel like I don't have any time. And right now, there are a lot of days where I don't feel like I have any time. I'm doing, I'm learning, I'm, working on applications, I'm reviewing documentation, I'm watching, financial information so that way I can be more educated and help educate my clients and my real estate partners. I'm running scenarios for clients who are looking to put, offers on homes. I'm working up contracts. I'm all of these things. And there are plenty of days where I don't feel that I've got enough time to fit all of it in. So, as far as the shiny object, I think really it boils down to making a plan on either a monthly or a quarterly basis and say, I'm only going to implement one new thing this month or this quarter, instead of just trying to do everything and say, oh, well, this week I'm doing this and next week I'm doing like, I can't expect to implement something brand new every single week. And so just taking a step back and say, okay, well, this month, what's the top priority for me to make an impact in my business? And what's the number one thing that I can implement or focus on to move that needle, right? And then next month, same thing. I say monthly, but monthly, quarterly, and just slow the process down and focus on incremental improvement instead of trying to improve by so much so fast that I'm really just treading water. I'm not really making any progress.
That is something that I've struggled with my entire career. And I always have to rein myself in with that kind of stuff. I put a giant stack of work in front of myself and I get hardly none of it done, or like 25% of all of it done. right? And I think that might be worse, where you have like all these things you set out to do, and you did just a little bit of them, and none of them are done very well. And that's something that I struggle with for sure.
Well, and Sean, we know you. You're one of the most process-oriented person that we know. What I would challenge you to do is, yes, while I think, maybe only implementing one per month or per quarter is important, I also think what's just as important to take a look at what you're currently doing now. Is there anything that you can actually remove from the process that, might not be as impactful or that you find is taking up too much time? So that might be something that, you can take a look at possibly implementing as well.
Well, there's definitely areas of my business where the activity or task does not warrant my skill level. And so I do need to either delegate, eliminate, or automate those things. And so but yes, doing a review of where all of those pieces are now, so that way I can make changes. I would say that's really the big thing that I can do to get back to simplicity in my business. So I'm gonna put that as my accountability is full scope business review.
I like it.
And within 60 days, I'm going to put 60. I could do it maybe sooner, but we'll see. So let's run with that.
Cool.
All right. There I am. Full scope business review in 60 days. Cut some fat, simplify. That's where I'm at. All right. Candido, man. So yeah, how's the year? What are the plans? What can we help with?
So, this year, I kind of made, and I've alluded to this in other shows, made a full court press of, what, I got to get myself back out there. Had a lot going on, family wise last year. And I just decided, what, I'm either all in or I'm all out, because I feel like I was kind of doing this half dance and it just wasn't working for me. So, I got involved with a lot more this year. I think, every time I'm checking in with you guys, I'm either on the road, coming back from this event, on my way to this event. Sorry, guys, I got to go get ready for this. So,
I focus. You are correct.
I love you guys, but for me, I do still think I time management I do okay. um it's at a point though where sometimes I feel like it's a little too much. So, I think, well, Sean, I was kind of preaching to you, maybe you take a look and make sure that what you're doing is everything like, does everything make sense? Well, I need to take a look in the mirror as well and kind of self-evaluate. So for the first half of this year, I feel like, yes, I do wish my business was better. However, I know I have made incremental steps in order to get involved with a lot more that I think, isn't going to pay off tomorrow, but it might pay off next week. And it'll definitely start paying off next month and for sure next quarter. So I think, that's really what this first half of the year has been for me, to implement those changes, to get back in it, make sure that I'm getting back in front of people and not just hiding behind my social media. So that's really what I focused on. And I like to think I've done a pretty decent job getting myself back out there.
Okay. Yep. Hiding in plain sight behind your social media. I love it.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
Okay. So give us, the breakdown of what has to happen and what is your focus or challenge going into the second half of this year that you need to work on to hit the goals that you have to achieve the results that you want.
Yeah. So, as you guys know, a big focus of mine is, okay, yes, I do a ton, and I put a lot of time into my social media content. Um, full transparency. Last week, Sean tried to make me a collaborator on one of his videos, and I said no because it didn't fit within my cadence. Yeah, that should have been my crappy moment of the week. Since then, after speaking with you gentlemen, it hurt me quite a bit because that cadence was the same for. And if you don't know what cadence, what I'm referring to, it's the type of post that you're posting, and I had it set for probably a good 2 or 3 years. I broke it. I broke the cadence. I broke the cycle. Now, how can I?
Didn't die.
I didn't die. No, I can't. I don't know if I could say that because a part of me feels like it did die a little bit. But I will say, I think it almost can allow me to be a little bit even more creative. And I think what I need to ask you gentlemen and ask for your help is, okay, I'm spending all this time creating content and being really purposeful with what I'm doing. How can I use that same content to help drive more exposure, both online and in person?
Yeah. Mark, do you mind if I chime in on this one?
Go for it. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So one aspect, because again, you're always making amazing content. You're always staying in front of people with your social, and you're hyper consistent. Like I long for the day that I can be as consistent as you on social, and driving traffic. Like you're so good with putting out content that I would say not relying solely on social to drive traffic to you. So, one of the things that you could easily do is you could take the content that you have, maybe even make some very specific additional content around certain topics, and utilize that content in your offline strategies. So as an example, let's say that you do a recurring newsletter to your database, right? Maybe you highlight a social media post of the week and driving people to that. Or maybe, within your client process, you have an email that goes out at a certain early on in the process. And in the email, you're like, hey, here are the top 5 frequently asked questions I get. And instead of like a lot of people where it maybe just has the question and the answer typed out, maybe you just have a link to a social media post that you did that answers the question and shares the question and then answers it. But now you're utilizing offline methods to drive people to your social media. So you're enhancing your traffic to your social media, not simply relying on social media to show people your content to drive people. You're proactively driving people outside of social media onto your social media. I think email communication and leveraging your content and emails with a couple of options that I mentioned. I think, having a library of key social media content that you've created that maybe is a little bit more educational, that you can quickly, easily send out. Somebody texts you, a client texts you, or an agent texts you, and they're asking a specific question that hey, I created content on this. You could easily just hit them back with a text. Hey, awesome question. Hey, check out this video that I did. I think this is gonna be spot on for what you're looking for. And now, again, you're driving them to your social content. And if it's people that don't follow you currently, you're just pushing traffic back to your online content to create that engagement and increase your followership, your fellowship.
Exposure.
I don't know. Right?
Fellowship.
Exposure.
Yeah. The exposure. Yeah.
I don't know. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Overall, I think those are really good thoughts and actually mirror mine quite a bit. I think the idea of connecting all of your communications is a really important thing. It's something that I've implemented in my business as well. When I make a post on social media, an email goes out about it, usually a couple days after. And one of the reasons is just to get more eyeballs on it, right? Is to get to people, that wouldn't normally see me on Facebook to see it. But also, if a couple people click that link, it reignites it in the algorithm for Facebook. So I'm going to get my initial bump, right? I'm going to get my initial push of anybody looking at it and reacting to it, but I'm going to get a second one that I manufacture by people actually clicking those links. You can do it email, you can do it over text, you can really do it in a number of ways. But I really like the idea of a more of a long form email talking about the same topic that you talked about in your video, and just boom, for more about this, click on this link, or
Right.
talk about, hey, this video I did the other day, and you slide the link in there and be like, this is what I was thinking when I was doing it, and maybe go into more detail about it. And you're just connecting all of those communications together, because nobody is going to connect with you on all of them. They're going to have their own personal one that they do. So being able to do that is huge. And I think I'm confident that it would up that, so that it would up your pull through on the social media stuff more, for sure. You could track it better.
Absolutely. And I think it could actually even create a better connection with whomever I'm sending that communication with as well. So,
Well, this is a
thanks,
whole nother
fellas.
show, guys, but ultimately I do believe that all of the strategies that we implement in our business should integrate to some degree. We should be, this strategy should touch this strategy. This strategy should touch this strategy. Like one of those diagrams where you have all those circles, but then you have like an intersection right in the center where they all converge. That to me is how our businesses should operate, is all these different strategies. They shouldn't be independent of each other. But again, I could go on and on about this whole nother show. So Candido, so what's an action item that you can implement that we can hold you accountable for to help you hit your goals this year?
Yeah. By the way, I think that's the Venn diagram. I think. Anyway,
I don't know words. I just say things.
Just throwing that out there. So I think that was all fantastic. I already have an idea in my head that I think I want to implement, that I think would be pretty easy, and I kind of already started doing it. So what I'm going to say is I can probably make a specific series that I can, send out to people, and
Like an educational series?
yeah. Like, for example, if what not to do during the process, and I can make short videos on me opening up a new line of credit and things like that. I try to make things funny and sarcastic, but I could see myself doing something like that, and it's pretty simple to make. So I would say to create a series that I can start to share with new prospective customers. And I could probably continue doing that for different sections of people. I could probably do one for agents, one for new customers. But yeah, I would say to start creating new series for people.
Well, and honestly, those are going to be evergreen videos, right? So you're going to be able to, unless you actively want to tweak or change them, you're going to record them once, and you're going to have them for the life cycle of your business.
Exactly.
So cool. Educational content series to integrate online and your offline strategies. I love it, man. I love it.
Let's go.
Cool. All right. Candido, man, what do we else? Do we have anything else? Or are we ready to get wrapped, man? I think hopefully everyone found value in this.
So what I would say is, the most important couple of things with an accountability group, because look, this whole thing started because we actually hold each other accountable. This isn't just for the show. We are constantly talking to each other every single day. You got to show up. You got to participate. You only get what you put into something, right? And that's the same thing with an accountability group. You have to be consistent, you have to show up, and you have to be able to say and hear things that may not necessarily always be flattering, right? It's not always awesome to hear how you could be doing something better, but you know what? That's going to ultimately make you a better person, make you a better loan originator, and make you better at real estate, what you do each and every day. So these are just a couple of things, and we could probably do a whole nother show on what it takes to have and run a successful accountability group. But those are just a couple of quick hits.
Yeah, I'd say a group, a partnership, have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of and is going to ask, hey, how you said you were going to do this. How's that going? Right. Like just keep, hey, how's this going? How's this going? Where you at? Like somebody or a group that's going to do that. And that's what the three of us are for each other. Mark, man, why don't you bring us home?
Yeah, sure. Let's stay on the same topic and about having accountability groups. I tell you what, one of the pillars of my business is having this group with these two guys. And, I believe, I know I have, and you guys probably have too, started and stopped many of these types of groups before. And don't make them too big. Make it to where you know what everybody's doing. Make it to where you have an actual relationship with everybody in the group. If you start a group with somebody that you don't really know, you're not going to be able to hold them accountable. If you start a group with somebody that you don't have an actual relationship with, you're not going to care enough about that person to tell them what they need to hear. And man, I tell you what, I one of the best things for me is when we get on here, I say, what I didn't accomplish, and I get berated for it, and that's good, right? You say, hey, you're not doing this, or you're lying to yourself. That's just a story you're telling yourself, right? And then get back into get back on the train. So yeah, I think it's great. If you guys have any questions, any listeners out there have any questions about starting an accountability group, I think we've got a pretty good process going. So reach out to one of us, Candido, preferably. Reach out to Candido, but no, reach out to any one of us about starting an accountability group. We love the one that we have, and we love to talk about it, and we'd love to help you. Help you get on that track as well. Man, there's so much more we could have talked about today that we might have to create another show or two based on this one that hopefully I don't lose connection for.
Yeah. Well, hey, shout out to one of the viewers, Travis Dwayne. What's up, Travis? Travis says, great topic, perfect example of what to do. And so really, really good stuff. Thanks for checking us out.
Thanks, Travis.
Man, everyone, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to the Reload Show. Again, we're here every single Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. What's that? 9 a.m. Pacific. Join us. We're always hitting it hard with topics that are vital to operating your business. And we just really appreciate you guys. So thanks for tuning in to the Reload Show today. Until next time, Candido, Mark, always good to see you guys. Appreciate it. Have an amazing week. Take care.
See ya.
Peace.